Now, the lights may be on in the Assembly chamber, but is anybody home? Moving a motion on global initiative to save power in government buildings, the SDLP's Tommy Gallagher said the lack of MLAs present for the debate may have led some to believe that Stormont had already been plunged into darkness.
This Assembly calls on the Assembly Commission and the Executive to support World Wildlife Fund's Earth Hour 2009 by switching off the lights in Parliament buildings and all government departmental buildings at an appropriate time on Saturday 28th of March 2009.
Gallagher to move the motion. Mr Gallagher.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I want to first of all just say that given the very high number of empty places around the chamber this afternoon, some members of the public might well conclude that the lights have already gone out at Stormont. And indeed, given the remarks of the Environment Minister at different times and his refusal to acknowledge that climate change is happening, there are also many people who believe that the lights have gone out as far as our environment is concerned. I want to refer to Earth Hour and just remind members that it's a global initiative and it's aimed at sending a strong message to world leaders in particular that all of us must continue the fight against climate change. It's not simply a motion coming forward here on behalf of a few people in Northern Ireland who care about the environment or who might be acting alone.
Tommy Gallagher there of the SDLP. His colleague Patsy McGlone, you saw beside him, is with me now. Patsy McGlone, thanks for joining us. You proposed this motion. So what do you want Stormont to actually do? I believe it's now been passed.
Yes, it has now been passed. In actual fact, the Minister who was present to respond on that, Nigel Dodds, did say he would be encouraging other government departments to do likewise. That is, switch off their lights and try and reduce the likes of electrical consumption for an hour on Saturday evening. Like 1,000+ cities right across the world.
So the Environment Minister wasn't there. Are you concerned at all that he might be sneaking back round to switch everything back on again?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. If he can find out where they drop off the earth at too, he would recommend us having a flat earth as well, I've no doubts. But no, to be serious about the thing, it's a very important symbolic gesture right across the world because we all know about climate change and thousands and thousands of scientists are in common concern and indeed have a common viewpoint about this. We had the recent Copenhagen stuff there, and everybody's coming to this with a single mind, and that is we have climate change. It's going to cause dramatic flooding, probably a loss of food right across the world, hunger, all those sorts of things. Indeed, I had where the Environment Committee is organising a public inquiry on climate change, and one of the people who contacted me was so deeply concerned about the comments of the Environment Minister because this person had been out on charitable work in Bangladesh. And one of the ministers in the Bangladesh government had actually heard about Minister Wilson's comments on the environment and said, look around us here. We have flooding of a huge catastrophic type because of climate change. Can you do nothing to encourage your minister to have a bit of common sense on this issue?
Well, interesting that the scheme focuses obviously on switching off lights because it's a visual thing that people can see it. But the reverse in a sense has been true for the last number of years. Public buildings have been encouraged to put on spotlights and floodlights so that when you drive around cities at night you see these lovely buildings well lit up. Of course that's not doing much for the environment.
No, it's not doing very much for the environment, and as well as that, even in this building here in Parliament buildings, for example, I was looking just at my own office there, the actual bulbs that are being used are very high capacity bulbs, very high watt bulbs, and you say to yourself, well, why are we using those whenever you can go and buy the other ones that'll save dramatically on your electricity costs by just making a bit of an investment there? Why do we have to have all these heavy duty bulbs in there? Why can't we have a change in the practices even around this assembly, which would save in electricity, which would have a consequential knock-on effect down through the years on our climate? Why not?
Is it something you're getting real buy-in on, or is it still a reluctance given the fact that the Environment Minister is a climate change sceptic?
Well, he can be a climate change sceptic all he likes. Everybody else has to try and be responsible about this issue. It's a wee bit like the cigarettes. A number of years ago people were saying, ask your cigarettes do you no harm. Now it's accepted that cigarettes can and do kill. The climate change is of a similar ilk. You had people then who were sceptical about it. Probably at that stage Mr Wilson was of a similar mind. But the rest of us have to be very responsible about this, show some sort of leadership, and actually look at the future of our planet and what we can do. Because whenever people come to me from the likes of Bangladesh who are doing charitable works out there to try and alleviate some of the worst excesses of climate change, we can't just think of our own wee parochial patch here back home in the north. We have to think of the consequences worldwide of what we do. And we have a moral as well as a political responsibility to do that.
Many thanks.
Thank you, Jim.